Rich's body-worn camera.
Why you giving me the finger?
What?
What's your problem?
What?
Why you giving me the finger?
I'm walking away.
Huh?
Am I free to go?
Why you giving me the finger?
Am I free to go?
No. Come
For
here.
what reason?
Why you giving me the finger? What's your problem?
Am I free to go?
No.
What, do you have a problem?
No.
Do you have a problem?
No.
You don't have a problem, then I can leave.
Why you giving me the finger when you're walking? Huh? Come here. Get over here.
What?
Get over here.
Is that a lawful order?
Yeah.
For what reason?
Because you're giving me the finger.
That's legal.
No, it isn't.
Says who?
Says it all.
Pull up the law.
Huh?
Pull up the law.
What's your name?
What's the law?
What's your
What's
name?
the law?
What's your name? How
What's
old
the
are
law?
you?
Corporal Pritch claims that it is illegal to give him the finger, and therefore he can lawfully detain Mr. Walker for doing so. As we have discussed before on ATA, the Supreme Court held in the 1971 case of Cohen versus California that, quote, absent a more particularized and compelling reason for its actions, the state may not, consistently with the First and 14th Amendments, make the simple public display here involved of this single four-letter expletive a criminal offense. Likewise, as the Supreme Court explained in the 1989 case of Texas versus Johnson, while the weight of federal...
Bro, that is not anything illegal.
Yeah, you are. You just cursed.
Pig.
Whatever. What?
You heard me.
Come here.
I'm afraid of you.
Come here.
that which would... Given this precedent, it is high...
Have a good one. Pig.
Whatever. What?
You heard me.
Come here.
I'm afraid of you.
Come here. Get over here.
What?
Get over here.
I'm not doing anything illegal.
Yeah, you are. You just cursed me off.
That's not
Turn
a
around.
crime.
Yes, it is.
Says who?
Says me.
Says
Turn-
who?
Turn around. Come on.
Bro, that is not a crime.
Yes, it is.
No, it's not.
Why are you cursing me?
It's not a crime.
What's your name?
It's not a crime.
What's your name?
Help! Help!
No help.
Help! Help!
Yo.
Help!
Corporal Pritch grabs Mr. Walker and holds him with his hands behind his back. When Mr. Walker starts screaming for help, Corporal Pritch turns off his body-worn camera and does not turn it back on until backup arrives. Under Section 40A 14-118.3 of the New Jersey statutes, every uniformed law enforcement officer is required to wear a body-worn camera that electronically records audio and video while acting in the performance of their official
That's not legal.
and the Attorney General's policy.
I'm under arrest right now because I was cursing at him. And he said,
You're being detained. Because you're acting strange.
what? That's not legal.
It is legal. He's allowed to
Who is
detain
this
you
kid?
until he performs his
So what am I
investigation.
doing though? What am I doing that made him detain me? What legal
Every
right?
time I rode by him twice, he shot me the finger. So I turned around and said, "Well, you're
Is that a crime?
problem?"
Hold
Then
on
he
a
tells
second.
me
That's not a
This is
crime.
causing public disturbance.
And then he
That's
tells
not,
me to
no, that's not a
to
crime.
F off, pig.
Yeah, off, big. That's not a crime. That's not a crime. He's looking at you because he's like, what the fuck you want me to do? Because it's not a crime. I know my rights.
Who are you?
I don't have to say any of that.
You do if you're being detained.
For what reason?
What is your
legal
name?
reason am I being detained for?
Where are you coming from and where are you
What
going?
legal reason am I being detained for? I need to know that. Legally, I need to know that.
Patrolman Michael James Lamontagne arrives on the scene and informs Mr. Walker that he is required to identify himself because he is being detained, even though he cannot provide a legal justification for the detention. However, New Jersey does not have a stop and identify statute, although the court would very likely determine that Patrolman Lamontagne was incorrect in his assertion that Mr. Walker was required to identify himself.
Why are you
Shooting me the finger.
Why are you
Is that illegal?
Why are you
Cursing at
flipping the bird? Yes, it is. When you are cursing in public, you are causing a public disturbance. You're being a nuisance to the public.
In what way? When he was driving past? Well, I'd like to see you guys prove it in court.
It's called causing a public disturbance.
I know the
by
law.
being a nuisance.
I know the law.
I'm not saying you're being charged with anything. At that
I'm
point,
just
he's
figuring out
detaining
what's wrong with you.
to make
What's
sure
going
that there
on?
is nothing
Make
wrong.
sure you're okay.
What
Make sure that
reason,
you're okay.
What reason does he need to detain me?
He thought maybe he thought you were signaling him down. Were
I
you
was.
signaling to him?
No,
Listen, I was
no,
just-
you knew very well that I wasn't signaling to you, right? I wasn't signaling
Well,
to you.
you bring attention to yourself.
That's not signaling.
You're acting strange. I'm making sure you're okay.
Dude, that's so funny. Like, you're not here for my safety. You're not trying to protect
How
me.
do you know?
You're walking
may
on the
be-
side of the road and you're cursing and you're flipping the bird.
Once at him. I gave him the finger once. That
you know
will
him?
not hold up.
Do you know him? Do you know him?
It's not your business. I
It is
plead the
my
fifth.
business.
I plead the fifth then.
It's
What's
your
the First
public
Amendment
law.
for?
Okay. First Amendment is for your freedom of speech. Okay.
Okay.
What does that have to do with
Was I
using
making a call to
gestures?
action? Am I calling for an action to be done against you? No.
Do you understand
You're
that it
bringing
is?
attention to
Listen,
yourself and
listen,
getting
listen, listen,
That's
listen.
illegal.
It's behavior that's out of the ordinary. Clearly, if you stopped all the way back there, I'm assuming you guys were back there and you just
We
continued
went
to
back
walk.
a bit further
And you
back.
just
And you
continued
ran
to
away
walk.
from me.
I wasn't running, I was walking.
Once he
So
gives an
let's-
order
let's
for
be
you to
honest here.
stop, you're supposed to stop.
I did stop when he originally said it, but I was asking, is it
And then he
illegal?
told me
Is it
to
a
F
lawful
off,
order?
and he took off.
Yeah, because I kept walking because you weren't pursuing at the first. You
All
only
right.
started pursuing because
So
I said "F you pig." That's
listen.
when you got a little upset.
Look, we're here at this point now, okay? You've brought the attention to yourself. You've
Yep.
caused the public alarm.
Well,
What
I'd like
we
to
are
see
doing-
you legally
so
hold
now
that
what we
in
are
court
doing,
because
I'm not charging you with anything, so I
Well,
don't
I
legally
would-
need to hold anything in court.
well, I want to know from your
I
perspective. What was I
pulled up
doing?
onto the scene, so you tell me what you were doing.
To bring you attention to
I
yourself.
plead the fifth. You idiot. How long have you been a cop? 6?
Longer than you.
Listen,
Longer than you. I'm not a cop.
I don't understand what the point of this is.
I'm walking. That's what I'm doing.
Okay.
It's the Fourth Amendment to be allowed to walk without seizures or anything like that.
You
Which
sure?
is yes.
Are you sure that's the Fourth Amendment? You
You
sure?
want to bet money on it?
You sure that's what the Fourth Amendment? It gives you the right to walk without seizure. What's going to be seizured while you're walking?
My body, my person, idiot. You were about to.
Listen.
He said I was going to be under arrest. He
You
said it.
said you were
I said
detained.
stop.
You
No,
said you were
where you
detained.
gonna be arrested.
So now what
Yeah,
happens?
so
now what happens?
just admitted that
now
he was
what
going
happens
to arrest
is when
me.
he gives you a lawful order to stop, and you do
It
not
wasn't a
stop.
lawful order, though.
And you do not stop.
It legally was not a
and
lawful
you
order.
do not stop, then that becomes a criminal offense, and then yes, you can be put under
But
arrest.
it's not a lawful order. Then I take it to court, and then he'd get sued, and I get
Maybe.
punitive damages. I'd be rich. Is that what you want?
That
Oh,
may,
you don't know the
that
law,
may be
buddy.
what happens
You don't know
if
the
you
law.
think that that's going to happen.
Patrolman Lamong Tang claims that the Fourth Amendment was not implicated in this interaction because no seizure occurred and Mr. Walker was not placed under arrest. However, as the Supreme Court explained in the infamous 1968 case of Terry versus Ohio, quote, the Fourth Amendment provides that individual
What is your
I could
name?
give you.
first ordered him to stop, and he complied.
It may be what's going to happen. It may not be what happens. Okay.
Okay, I
What may
understand.
happen is
All right, so
is
what
you
are we
may get a
wasting time
normal
for?
jury.
Am I free
and
to go?
What
Am I
may
free to
happen
go?
is you may
Am
get
I
a
free to
normal
go?
jury. No, because at this point
For what reason?
you were detained. Okay, because he told you to stop
Okay.
and you didn't stop.
Okay.
So therefore, you need to identify yourself as a part of the investigation. So what is your name?
Okay, I'm gonna need all of your badge numbers.
I
Most
will
of
give
your
you
badge
everything
numbers.
written
We'll
down
give
on
you
a
all
card.
of it.
What is
I
your
could
name?
give you.
If you have an
Am
ID,
I?
that's perfect.
Am I? Okay. I'll take it to court
If you have
because
an
this
ID,
is
that's
still
perfect.
this is still a detainment.
Are you a juvenile?
This is an illegal detainment,
Are
so
you
I
a
can still.
juvenile?
I'm not going to answer that.
You have to answer.
Why?
Because you're being detained.
I said I'll give you my ID, buddy. He's such a pig, bro.
So what does that make you?
Not a pig.
What does
Dude,
that
this
make
is
you for
illegal.
saying?
You'll legally have to prove that I was a nuisance
When
to
you're
the public.
standing-
How will you do that? How will you do that? I just want to hear
Camera
your-
systems. Okay, so when he goes by in the car, okay, and he sees you doing what you're doing,
And what was
that's
I
all gonna
doing?
be there.
And what part of that caused a disturbance? That's what I'm trying to legally understand. I don't understand. Is that a body camera?
That's what it is.
Perfect, perfect. Tuckerton doesn't have them, you know that? Tuckerton's been on back order for months. Because I have a lawsuit against them, that's why. And I wish they'd have body cams. I would love if they had body cams. Take out the bad cops.
It's for all of us.
Right.
It's for all of us. It's for everybody that's involved in the situation. Okay?
Appreciate it.
If you have any problems or anything, and you want to come down, you want to talk to somebody, our supervisors are always there as well. Okay?
Well, I'm going to
And
take
you
a
can do
lawsuit,
that.
so who would I press criminal charges against? For what?
You're gonna have to. You're gonna have to
police
call.
officers.
You're gonna have to call and figure that out with a lawyer. You would have to file a complaint with the courts.
Got it.
Okay, and then you can go from there if you want to see if you can press charges and whatnot if you
Perfect.
violated your rights.
Appreciate it.
Okay.
Stay
All
out
right,
of the
am I free
roadway.
to go?
Don't give us fingers.
Shut the f up.
Stay out of the roadway. Stop causing a public alarm.
Dude, shut the f up. Am I
Stop
free to go?
cursing.
Am I
You're free to go.
Stop cursing. Go.
You're free to go.
After Patrolman Lamont Tang informed Mr. Walker that he was free to go, Mr. Walker directed a profanity at both of the officers and walked away without any further incident. Very little information is available about this interaction, and although Mr. Walker informed the officers of his intent to pursue legal action, it is unknown whether he has taken any steps to do so. Overall, Corporal Pritch and Patrolman Lamont Tang get an F for acting with total disregard to Mr. Walker's First Amendment and Fourth Amendment rights, detaining him without reasonable suspicion to do so, and blatantly misstating the law multiple times throughout the encounter, claiming that it was to turn off his body camera when Mr. It is immensely troubling that Corporal Pritch home of 52-year-old Lance Thornton, who suffers from early onset dementia. Mr. Thornton's doorbell camera captured footage of the officers removing it from its installation location and throwing it into Mr. Thornton's yard, after which the officers knocked on the door. When Mr. Thornton, who was sleeping at the time, did not get to the door quickly enough, they started to break down the door. Mr. Thornton came to the door before they broke it down completely, and the officers asked him to step outside. After explaining that he suffered from dementia, Mr. Thornton took out his cell phone and began to film the encounter.
We're not here for you.
Then I'm being told to put my phone down. I was told I had a right to pull it. That is my rental car. What is going? You're not allowed inside. I want to know what's going on.
Tell you what's going on.
Then you tell me right now.
Relax.
No, this is my house.
Relax.
No, you're gonna.
Right.
No.
That's who we're looking for. He in your house right now? Is he in your house right now?
No, there's nobody in my house.
Wanted for attempted homicide through officers. Okay, so that's why we're here. We're not here for anything else. We're here for that. That's
Okay.
It. You got my word.
All right.
Can we go in and look to make sure he's not in there?
No, I swear to you right now. Okay, right now.
You know him.
No, I don't know him. I do not like your attitude and the way you came across. Because I said, I'm going to pull my phone out of my pocket, and you said yes. When I said I'm going to start recording, you told me to turn it off.
We have our body cams on. We're recording right now too.
I'm going to get every one of these because I do not know what's going on here.
Listen, this guy's wanted for attempted homicide through officers. Okay, a tip came in and this guy is staying at your house. Understand? Over the weekend.
Who are you guys with?
U.S. Marshals, EPD SWAT.
What's
PSP?
EPD?
Police.
Okay, keep going.
And PSP.
What's PSP?
Pennsylvania State Police.
Okay, I'm shaking right now. Right now, if this is true, what you're telling me,
Yes.
I give you full permission, full run of my house.
Do you know this guy?
Sir, I already answered that
I
question,
get that.
asked and answered.
But here's the deal. There's a reason why this tip was called into the marshals. There's a connection between you and this guy. Now, it might not be directly. Okay, do you have a girlfriend?
Just hear him out. Just hear him
My
out.
wife is an ER doctor.
Who's your wife? Is there another girl, woman that stays here? A girl?
No,
Nobody else?
no,
Okay, who?
my daughter.
Okay, where does she stay at?
She lives in Washington, D.C. This is my daughter?
We don't know. Okay, again, this is a tip that's called into from the U.S. Marshals and PSP hotline. Okay, saying that this guy is staying here at your house right now. This week.
Go inside, guys. Go inside.
Well, we will in a second. We have to go more than just two guys, but that's why we're here. Is to show force we are.
Who's fixing my door? Because you broke it the way you kicked it.
It's not broken.
No,
Door?
I saw the inside.
The door?
Yes, whoever was kicking that door when I was coming downstairs peacefully, you had to hear my feet coming. Someone's paying for this, so go ahead, do your thing.
That's fine.
Do your job, because you have me so scared right now and so mad.
I appreciate that.
Do you guys have a warrant, by the way?
Homicide warrant? Homicide warrant? Yes.
No. Do you have a warrant for my house? I'm just asking so I know.
No, you don't have a search warrant for your house.
You do not have a...
You gave us consent to get.
I'm giving you consent, but I can withdraw it at any time, right?
You don't have a search warrant for your
Because
house.
I'm scared right now.
We are not taking anything in your house. We don't want anything in your house but this individual. Yep. Just look up. Steve.
The officers inform Mr. Thornton that although they do not have a search warrant for his home, they can enter because they have his consent, which the officers believe to be valid despite the fact that Mr. Thornton informed him that he has dementia. In the 1981 case of Stiegald versus United States, the Supreme Court determined because the homeowner did not consent, the officers were not in hot pursuit of the suspect, and no other exigent circumstances existed. Therefore, because the officers did not have a warrant to enter Mr. Thornton's residence, and no exigent circumstances appeared to exist, the officers could not enter Mr. Thornton's home without his consent. As the Supreme Court explained in the 2006 case of Georgia versus Randolph, in the 2020 case, no aspect stated that he was scared and confused, so it is also possible that a court could conclude that his consent was not effective. Although, given the low standard required to prove voluntariness, this outcome seems unlikely.
Ambulances, a SWAT truck, lots of cars, and a rude officer. What's the relationship with my daughter?
I'll explain it. I'm not with this going on. Okay.
Why? This is total transparency because I've just given you permission to walk into my house. I can withdraw it right now. So you tell me now where I withdraw. I'm going to draw this consent. Sirs, get out of my house. I'm withdrawing consent. I am withdrawing consent. Do you now hear it? You're on camera. They're still moving forward.
You want to understand?
They're still going in. I withdrew my consent, and you guys even knew I could do it. They're still searching.
You want us out?
I already called them out.
You can't go back and forth saying you let us in, you don't let us in.
I said, can I withdraw consent? And you said yes on camera.
Yes, you can. Yes.
And
you
I
can.
did. I not just withdraw it.
So I'm telling you what's going on.
Right now, they're doing an illegal search of my house.
Hey, Steve, homeowners saying we don't have consent now.
I have Alzheimer's. I have dementia right now, and I'm really scared.
Okay. Well, there's no reason to be scared. We're not here.
I told him to stop the consent until I got the truth, and you already told him, and it is still searching my house.
Here's the thing.
I have enough security cameras in there. They're all scared. They heard me withdraw consent, and they're still continuing in there after I withdrew it.
Mr. Thornton argues that the officers are searching his home illegally because they continued to search after he withdrew his consent. The Supreme Court has not expressly established that an individual may withdraw consent to search that they have voluntarily given. However, in the 1980 case of Walter versus United States, the court explained that, quote, when an official search is properly authorized, whether by consent or by the issuance of a valid warrant, the scope of the search is limited by the terms of its authorization. And in the 1991 case of Florida versus Gimeno, it stated that, quote, a suspect may, of course, delimit as he chooses the scope of the search to which he consents. Based in part on this precedent, the Third Circuit Court of Appeal, and citing here, Mr. Thornton unequivocally revoked his consent by explicitly stating that he was withdrawing his consent multiple times, and a court would almost certainly determine that the officers violated the Fourth Amendment by continuing to search his home after hearing these statements.
Because I want the truth. I
told you the truth. What do you mean? I'm not telling you the truth.
Let me finish, and I apologize. I'm getting frustrated. Okay. I'm standing out here in the cold in pajamas. I said, I'm going to reach in my pocket. I'm going to grab my phone.
Yes.
And I was told yes. And then I said, I'm going to start recording. And then I started hearing officers tell me, no, put the phone away. I'm not allowed to record. I have all this going on. And then they still continue to go through there after knowing right now they're doing an illegal search.
Here's the thing. I radioed to them to tell them to stop.
I stood right here. They stared at me when I told them I withdraw consent. Okay. So right now, my Fourth Amendment is being violated.
This has, like I told you, this has to do with a wanted person who's wanted for attempted homicide.
Right.
We received a tip through Crime Stoppers regarding this. Okay. And the tip said that person was at your residence from this weekend.
The officers informed Mr. Thornton that they received an anonymous Crime Stoppers tip that the suspect was staying at Mr. Thornton's house, and that the tip was the basis for their search. In the 1983 case of Illinois versus Gates, the Supreme Court held that when determining whether an anonymous tip gives rise to the probable cause necessary to issue a warrant, courts must apply a totality of the circumstances. In fact,
I know you guys are scared. You guys have somebody wanted, but I do not understand the show of force and the aggressiveness towards me because this is my home. I gave you my medical condition, and you guys still are doing this. See, they're upstairs now. You said they're on their way out.
After completing their search of Mr. Thornton's home and not finding the suspect, the officers eventually left. According to a GoFundMe campaign started by Mr. Thornton's daughter, as a result of the officers' actions, Mr. Thornton's front door could not be securely shut or locked, and his doorbell camera was broken. The GoFundMe also reports that the carpet in 2 bedrooms was ruined by a dark substance that looked like paint or tar that seemed to have been tracked in on one of the officers' shoes. Following the interaction, Mr. Thornton filed a request for the body camera footage and other material related to the interaction, but his request was denied after a lengthy exchange with the Pennsylvania State Police, who directed Mr. Thornton to file his request with the U.S. Marshal Services, as they were the lead authority on the scene at the time. As of the writing of this episode, Mr. Thornton has not received any body camera footage related to this incident. Mr. Thornton also suffered a stroke shortly after this encounter, which he believes to be a direct result of this interaction. Overall, the officers get an F. Welcome to, and it's brought to us by shortly thereafter, so lying face up in a parking lot in a pool of liquid. Mr. Garces pulled over next to the man, and when he realized the liquid was blood, he got out of his vehicle and began to administer CPR. Shortly thereafter, several officers with the Santa Paula Police Department arrived on the scene, and the interaction that followed was captured on their body cameras.
Don't go to the car. Don't go to that car. Stay over here. Stay over here. Stay over here. Come over here. That's your car?
That's my car. I was driving by. I saw it. I'm a retired fireman.
Okay.
I'm not a part of this.
We don't know anything about that.
No.
We see a gun in the car. You're not going there. Do you have your ID?
It's in the car.
What's your name?
Joe Garces.
Joe Garza, you got to relax, okay? We know you're helping us out.
Wait, but you guys aren't listening either. That's part of the problem. Yeah.
So I said we appreciate your being involved.
I
Okay.
get it.
We just run it.
That's his knife. I took it out of his pocket to cut his shirt
Okay.
off.
And that's your vehicle.
Yeah, I was driving north. I saw the lady. They were looking this way, and I saw him down, and I thought it was beer or something. Spun around and came in, saw the blood. She said they were calling 911. I screamed, has he been shot? She said, yeah, it was. I was pulling in.
Okay.
Saw the gunshot wound to the side of his face. I did a quick check, found the gun in his waistband, rendered it useless, stuck it inside my car, grabbed his knife, cut off his shirt, and then you guys started showing up.
Okay. Did you
And I
see
started
any,
doing CPR.
Did you see anybody
No,
running?
nothing,
Anybody
nothing.
leaving the area? Anything?
Not a thing.
Relieve him. Someone relieves him. Get a mask.
Not a thing.
Get this guy out of here, sir.
He's a witness.
What the?
Relax. Okay.
Hey,
We
Star.
appreciate it.
Huh?
So I got a crime scene, sir. I'm a detective.
Yeah, and I'm here helping him, so step the off. Okay? If you're a good detective, you wouldn't be yelling at me right now. You'd be taking care of your job.
Over here.
Yeah, you. I can't get the out of here.
Get out of my crime
What's your
scene. Rivera, get out of my crime scene.
What are you gonna do to me?
Get out of my crime scene. I'm gonna make you next time. Get out of my crime scene.
Come with me, Mr.
Get out of
Garces.
my crime scene.
Mr. Garces.
That's my.
Come with me, Mr. Garces.
Detective Chris Rivera arrives and orders Mr. Garces to get out of his crime scene, and the other officers lead Mr. Garces outside the perimeter of the scene. Officers generally have the authority to close a crime scene to the public, and, as the Supreme Court noted in the 1972 case of Brandsburg versus secure and control of such person at the scene. Here, because Mr. Garces was a witness who was being interviewed, it seems more appropriate under the DOJ's guidelines that he would be secured and separated without necessarily being removed from the scene like a bystander would be. However, given the broad discretion that officers have to protect and secure crime scenes, a court would likely conclude that Detective Rivera had the authority to remove Mr. Garces from the perimeter.
Yeah. You think you're getting caught, that's how you act. No wonder people don't give you guys the benefit of the doubt. And I worked with you for 27 years. When do I get my car back then? Hey, tell them thank you for
Advise
teaching
clear
me
to
not
enter.
to be helpful, you fat piece.
You have to step back. Step back. Step back.
Is
Step
my
back. Step
fiancé,
back.
is he
Step
okay?
back. I don't know who your
Oh yeah,
fiancé
so
is.
now you're gonna come
I need
over with
step
me,
back.
huh? You're doing a really good job right now, aren't you?
I need you to back
You
up.
need to calm him the
I need you to back up.
Come here.
No,
I got him. I got him. Come here.
No,
You need to
get
understand.
your hands off me. Really, the paint compliance, that's what we need to do? Because you don't like being talked.
What's his name?
After Mr. Garces shouts at Detective Rivera from outside the parking lot, Detective Rivera leaves the scene, approaches Mr. Garces, and puts his hand on his shoulder. Mr. Garces pulls his arm away and uses a profanity to tell Detective Rivera to keep his hands off him. In response, Officer Rivera immediately grabs Mr. Garces' right arm, wrenches it behind his back, and C-clamps his forearm and elbow. As we have discussed before on ATA, in order for an officer's use of force against a citizen, balancing, and there was no evidence that he posed a danger to anyone's safety, as he was simply involved in a verbal altercation and at no point made any physical threats or moved his body in a threatening way. As for the third factor, whether Mr. Garces was acting with other commands, so it would be unfair applying likewise the so-called facts and that, quote, because he has a strong argument that Detective Rivera's use of force violated his department's use of force policy.
What is helping that
Take
person?
it down a notch.
You can take
Take
it down
a notch.
Somebody here's not
Take it
controlling themselves
down.
into you.
Take a deep breath.
Don't be a hypocrite.
I've taken a deep breath. It's your turn now.
Yeah, don't be a
You
hypocrite.
want to talk like adults? I'll let you go. You
Okay,
want to talk
did
like
you
adults?
start talking to me like an adult?
Do you understand how I need to
Do you
do my
see
job?
what you're doing wrong?
If you know how to do this job and you have a badge, then you would understand. Now, do you want to
It's
go
so
for
would-
148
it's
if you
so-
have a badge?
It's so
Do you
would
have a badge?
Yes,
Are you
I do.
retired?
Yes.
Do you want to go for 148 for being in a crime scene? Just because sergeants on patrol don't know how to do their job, and you were a
You're
cop
saying
at
your
one time-
sergeant doesn't know how to do his job?
Take him. Turn him around. Where's your badge at?
In my Jeep, like I keep saying, but
Where
you
at
won't
your
listen.
Jeep? Where at in your Jeep?
Hey, you will see it when you
Do
look
you
at the
want
front
your
of
car?
Jeep.
Do you want me to have to write a search warrant and keep it, or do you want to keep your car? Do you want to get home as soon as possible?
I'm not talking anymore.
Okay. Sink him in this car right here.
64. What's your first name?
Joe.
Joe.
Hey, check that out. I stopped to help somebody who's been shot. I'm getting arrested.
Have a seat for a second.
Just so you know, I'm retired because of PTSD.
Got it.
Major anxiety problems.
Got it.
Being in handcuffs doesn't help me. And I know you guys got to do it. Keep
You got it.
He is accelerating this way more than I am.
I won't let him talk to you anymore. You want the windows down or anything? How
Can we just sit right here with me, the door open? I ain't going anywhere, dude. You guys all know
I'll
where
sit
I
right here
live.
for now.
I mean, I know what you guys do. I mean, I did it with you for 27 years in Oxnard, not Santa Paula.
Right.
To have that happen, that's as unprofessional as anything I did, and a cop shouldn't lose his like that. You and I both know that.
Do me a favor, just sit here for now.
No problem. Well, they know that. I already told the first couple guys here that there's a gun on the floor of of the driver.
Okay.
Oh, dude, this is gonna freak me out. Come back quick.
I'll roll down the windows
I
a
can't
little
stand
bit.
this.
Okay. And what was your last name, sir?
Garces.
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 Okay. And you're detained right now, okay? You're
Yeah,
not
I
under
understand.
arrest. All right, man?
Yeah, I totally get it.
Cool.
The officer informs Mr. Garces that he is being detained and is not under arrest, despite the fact that he has been placed in handcuffs in the backseat of a police vehicle. Although the use of arrest-type detention de facto arrest, when the officers had no basis to believe that the individual, he would have a valid argument. Section 140, no physical, and in the 1990s, individuals to with Detective Rivera and not immediately exiting the crime scene when ordered to do so. Or, at the very least, it seems...
There's blood on him. I got the fire captain coming over to
Did you guys find my
decontaminate
wallet?
it. I don't know. I've been standing over here. This is the one that needs decontaminated. Cap, he has blood on him. Yeah, he's actually a witness, but he was doing CPR when we came up, and we had to.
Where's the blood on him? Do you know?
I don't know.
Okay.
Probably on his hands.
So I think afterwards, the other cop said to not worry about it. To I don't know. But
I'm good with that.
The officers held Mr. Garces in the back of the patrol car for about 15 minutes, after which Detective Rivera uncuffed Mr. Garces and told him he was free to leave. Sometime later, Mr. Garces requested emergency medical services, and a police officer called an ambulance for him. Mr. Garces was treated at Community Memorial Hospital in Ventura, California, and reportedly suffered a dislocated shoulder and torn labrum that had to be surgically repaired. No charges were filed against Mr. Garces. Mr. Salgado survived the shooting, and a suspect was apprehended and charged with attempted murder a few days later. As of the date of writing this episode, the charges are still pending. On August 19, 2021, Mr. Garces filed a federal lawsuit against Detective Rivera and the city of Santa Paula, alleging civil rights violations, including a federal claim for excessive force and several state law claims. On March 24, 2023, U.S. District Judge Fernando Anaya Rocha ruled that Detective Rivera had qualified immunity and therefore could not be held personally liable for the federal excessive force claim because the use of a C-clamp hold had not been clearly established as a violation of the Fourth Amendment. However, as of the date of writing this episode, the federal claim is still pending against the city, and the state law claims remain viable against both Detective Rivera and the city. Overall, Detective Rivera gets an F.
What are you pulling me over for? Legal pullover. A legal pullover, buddy. You just pulled me over unconstitutionally. Do you understand that?
Hey, you're speeding.
I'm not speeding.
You talk about me
I got a fucking dash cam with my GPS on it, buddy.
Listen. You flipped me off while I'm driving down.
That's not illegal, buddy.
This is correct. It is not illegal to flip off a cop. However, this is what the cop does next.
It's not illegal. You just committed a crime. Nope, you're not getting license and registration. I haven't committed no crime. What's my crime?
The guy that's always pulling.
What's my crime, buddy?
Give me your license and registration.
What's my crime?
Speeding. I paced you.
Pace me.
You're in front of me.
Let me see your thing. Let me see your gun. Let me see your gun, buddy. You paced me.
Gun.
Get out of here. Let me see your radar gun. I'm not giving you registration. You pulled me over unlawfully, sir. Santos, number 620.
Yeah, Santos 620. Give me your license and registration.
No, I'm not giving you my license and registration. You pulled me over unlawfully, buddy. Unlawful pullover. You gonna let me go to work now?
No.
Yeah,
Give me your
okay.
license and registration.
Okay. I'm not giving you. Under what? If I don't, what are you gonna do?
Failure to identify.
That's a secondary crime, dude.
And this is the look of an officer who ran into someone that knows his rights. But wait, there's more.
That's a secondary crime.
That's an arrestable offense.
Is it?
Yeah.
What'd you pull me over for?
I told you speeding. Give me your license.
Speeding. I'm giving you my license registration under threat of arrest.
All right, man.
And your litigation, buddy. Litigation.
10-4.
Here's my license. Here's my license. Here's my registration.
All right, cool.
And you're going to litigation, buddy.
Okay. Hey,
You are. No problem, buddy.
Now, watch what happens next.
This is hilarious.
Officer Santos received backup from not one but two more officers in their respective cars to aid his stop.
You call backup code 3 for a speeding ticket and a camera? You're a buddy.
You're receiving your speeding ticket.
Good.
Right?
Give me my speeding ticket and get away from me.
Get away
I don't
from
need
me.
no more lawful directions from you,
Hey,
buddy.
whose truck is this though? Is your work truck?
I don't answer questions. Give me my
I'll be in
ticket.
contact with your work company as well, alright, man?
You go ahead and do what you need to do, buddy.
So
Threaten me some more.
Go ahead.
Threaten me
Hey,
some more.
go ahead and-
Litigation will
hey.
start against you, Santos.
hey, go ahead and fight the ticket,
Yeah,
alright?
I will fight the ticket, yeah.
So we do not know for certain if this man was speeding, but what we do know is he admitted to giving Officer Santos the finger. In the state of Indiana, the law firm of Surrey and Associates puts on their website, is giving the middle finger to a cop free speech? They answer, indeed it is, as long as you don't cross the line and cause a public disturbance. SCOTUS has ruled that there are exceptions to what's would be the closest in 2017 your gesture at all. Over again, the Sixth Circuit, Jeffrey Sutton, driver over, acted by the constitutional back speech, the court said. Menard, in short, clearly had no proper basis for seizing Cruz Gullias a second time.
Welcome to Audit the Audit, where we sort by ensuring transparency in this episode.
Howdy.
Roll us down all the way, man.
Why is that?
Roll it down all the way so I can talk to you better.
We can talk, right? I mean,
Roll it down all the way. I'm not asking you, I'm telling you.
what law is that?
Why are you starting this, man?
Well, you're telling me to roll my window. We can talk, right?
Yeah, roll it down more
But why?
so I can talk to you better, man. I'm not going to talk to you through a crack like this. I'm not.
We can talk.
I'm not trying to be rude to you, anything like
I'm
that.
really not trying to be rude to you either, but
So what's the deal? Why don't you want to roll it down all the way?
because I don't
Why
have
don't you
to.
want to?
I
You just trying to be difficult? or
I'm
what?
not trying to be difficult. Do you want my license and registration?
Yeah, if you don't care.
Trooper Little orders Mr. Transparency to roll down his window all the way, but Mr. Transparency refuses. While Section 27-49-106, while there is no red light of traffic, because there is no ad on the issue without a direct ruling from a higher court.
What's the reason for stopping me? If you
First
don't...
off, okay, I'm Trooper Jackson Little with the Arkansas State Police, okay?
I appreciate that.
The reason I'm pulling you over is speeding. You know how fast you're going?
I do.
How fast are you going?
I'm not going to answer that question.
Okay, I got you going 87 in the 65, man. That's a little quick.
I got this dash cam here,
Yeah.
and it records my speed.
Okay, how fast does it say you're going?
I'm not going to answer that question, but
Okay.
I know it wasn't that. This is
Okay.
registration,
How fast do you think
insurance.
you were going, at least?
I'm not going to answer that.
Okay,
I'm really not trying to be difficult with you, sir.
so what's the deal then?
Well, what deal?
Why are you just being so defensive and argumentative?
With what?
Everything I'm saying.
Well, I don't
First off,
believe.
I'm not being cooperative by rolling the window down. It's not a huge deal. I'd like to talk to you better, you know, instead of
I think that we're talking fine, though, aren't we?
We were, but
I just don't-
it's not,
Well, hold on. Let's start over.
we're not going to argue.
I don't want to argue with you, but
Okay.
let's start over.
Okay.
Can we do that?
Yeah.
My name's James. You have my
Nice to
ID
meet you,
here.
man.
And I just don't. The reason for the window, I'm not trying to be defensive or
Yeah, yeah,
argumentative or anything.
Yeah.
I just don't like to have it all the way down.
Why's that?
I just don't.
Why is that, man?
I just don't. you know?
Okay, okay. Everyone's different, I guess.
Everyone is a little different, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
You like it down, I don't, you know. It's,
Okay. Everything looks good here. So you don't think you were speeding?
I don't want to answer any questions regarding that.
Why not?
Trooper Little asks Mr. Transparency if he thought he was speeding, and Mr. Transparency replies that he does not want to answer any questions on that subject, invoking his Fifth Amendment right to remain silent. The Fifth Amendment provides it need only be truthful questions Trooper Little asked about his speed, as he could very reasonably fear that his answers could be used against him.
It's just,
It's not a huge deal, man. It's just speeding.
I get it, and I don't think it's a huge deal to not.
Something, you know, if you don't think you're going that fast, something could be wrong with your car or something, man. You know, you never know that.
To
I'm not trying to be
2021.
rude, nothing like that, man.
I'm not trying to be rude either.
I know you're being nice now, so I appreciate that.
Well, I feel like I've been nice.
Yeah, it's the deal is, man. We go, you know, if you give us signs by not being cooperative by the little things.
We're not
Sometimes
cooperating?
Just listen. Let me talk, okay?
Sure.
Okay. Those little things can mean a lot sometimes, man. For all you know, you could be trying to hide something, anything like that. So those are just little clues. I'm not saying you are. Not accusing
Well, we're
you of
just
anything.
operating within the bounds of the law right now, aren't
What'd
we?
you say?
Are we just operating within the bounds of the law right now?
We are.
Then
But those are just little clues, man. I mean, it's kind of weird when you don't want to roll your window down on the way. It's just a little weird, man.
it's a little weird that you're just demanding I do something. You said that you're not asking, you're telling me, and you don't have the legal grounds to tell me to roll my window all the way down. That's the only thing. That was a lie.
A lie?
Yeah.
It's not a lie.
Do Do I have to roll my window down?
I can make a bigger deal out of that. I'm not going to, though.
Do I have to roll my window down all the way? Is that a law?
Do what I asked, man.
Is that a law?
And if you think that's violating whatever, we can take it to court.
We can take that one to court. That is not a law that I have to have my window all the way down.
Like that. But like I said, it's speeding, man. It's not a huge deal.
And I understand that, and that's why I feel like we got off on the wrong foot, because you were telling me to do something that I don't have to do.
I can tell you to do whatever I want. If you think it's violating,
you can tell me to do whatever you want.
If you think it's a violation of whatever thing you're talking about, we can take it.
Well, I don't think you violated anything right now.
Okay,
yeah.
Good deal.
No, I think we have a disagreement on what the law says on the window.
What's the deal, man? Honestly, what?
Well, there's zero deal.
Okay, so just what?
You've got me stopped.
Yeah.
You're accusing me of speeding, you say?
Yeah.
I've handed you my documents. I'm doing everything I'm legally required to do.
Trooper Little continues to question Mr. Transparency about why he will not roll down the window all the way, and seems to interpret Mr. Transparency's reluctance to aid the investigation as some form of hostility. In many situations, the refusal to assist in an officer's investigation does not, on its own, give the officer reasonable suspicion of criminal activity. For example, in the 1983 case, the Supreme Court held that a suspect who stands mute, it does not, using this rationale. Therefore, individuals who wish to invoke their right to remain silent must explicitly say that they wish to do so.
Yeah.
I don't understand why you think I have a deal.
I just don't. Why can't you just really what's so hard about just click?
Well, what's wrong with you said that so we can talk, but we're talking right now. So
there's nothing
what
wrong
other
with
reason is there?
I'm just curious, honestly, why you can't just roll it down all the way.
I
don't know why don't
I'm just curious of why you're so stuck on it.
It just blows my mind. Like, why can't you just roll it down all the way, man? Like, what's?
It blows my mind that you can't let it go. I thought we moved past this.
It's just a little funny to me, man. I'm behind the whole cop thing. I'm just kind of curious why you won't do it.
I just don't think that I am legally obliged to do that.
Yeah, I'm saying beyond that, why don't you just want to? Like, what's the big deal? You see, like, are you afraid or what?
I like my window. Well, I think that, a man approaches my car with a gun and...
Yeah, I'm not here to hurt you or anything like that.
I fully believe that, but I'm allowed to have my defenses up, right? Do you believe I'm going to hurt you?
No, I don't.
But you got your defenses up, right? I mean, it's just a natural
all the stuff
thing.
Going on, I guess it's kind of natural.
I have nothing against you as a person.
Yeah, but
I'm just...
You got to think, man, not every cop's a bad cop, so I'm not here to hurt you like that, man.
And I'm fully on the side of the police.
Yeah.
But I
appreciate that.
Yeah, I have my ways I got to do things.
Yeah. I was just saying, behind the whole cop thing, I was just kind of curious why you didn't want to, like, behind the whole, I'm the cop, you're the, violator, whatever, just kind of curious why you didn't want to roll it down, so.
Yeah, I just like it where it is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Everyone's different.
Sure.
Anyway, man, just hang tight here, okay?
Sure.
Put your stuff back, man. Here's what we're doing, okay?
All right.
Your record looked pretty dang good. I didn't see a speeding warning or ticket on there, okay?
Okay.
On you off with the warning, okay?
I really
know you don't think you're going that fast, but radar said you were, but I'm not writing you a ticket.
That's what I was going to ask, is if you're on radar, because I'm not lying to you, I wasn't going that fast.
How fast? Since we're beyond that, how fast was it?
I really can't answer that question.
Well, I'm not writing you a ticket, man. It's a warning, so I'm just curious what it says.
I understand, but there's a formality that's got to take place there.
What do you mean formality?
My right to remain silent on things.
I'm not going to walk back there and rewrite a ticket, man. I can promise you that. I'm just curious.
I can promise I won't answer the question.
You have my word. I'm not going to do that. I promise you. That's on my camera.
Mr. Transparency continues to refuse to answer questions, even after Trooper Little issues him a warning and assures him that he will not write him a ticket. However, nothing would legally prevent Trooper Little from changing his mind and issuing a citation after the warning was given. So Mr. Transparency's privilege against self-incrimination remained intact after the warning was issued. Additionally, Mr. Transparency's dash cam footage could be obtained by the police and used against him in court if he were to confess to speeding, provided that they obtain a warrant for the digital data. In the 2014 case, they could not gain warrantless access to the court of time due to the potential of self-incrimination and the dashcam video being used as evidence against him. Mr. Transparency was well within his rights to continue to refuse to answer questions.
Well, yeah, man, what's your name again?
My name's James.
Okay, nice to meet you, man. I'm Jackson.
Too.
Nice to meet you.
You too. What was your badge number?
587.
587. Is any of that going to be on the...
Oh, let's see. It should be. Yeah, name's right there. Badge number's right there, okay?
Perfect, man.
But yeah, besides that, man, I know you don't think you're...
And felt like you weren't getting all the information. The News Voice fronted by Sergeant Panicia of the Pinellas County Sheriff's Office.
A fishing pole. What's the other thing? My AR pistol and my handgun.
Alright. Put your hands up for me, bro. Why are you carrying around that?
Because I was just fishing.
With a gun?
Yes, sir. I was in Florida. We can do this.
Yeah, I don't know, bro.
I'm letting you know. I'm trying to let you know while you're engaged in fishing, hunting, and camping, you can do this.
Florida has a long history with the legal implications of carrying a firearm, and the state has changed its position on the ideology many times. During the Reconstruction period, Florida was one of several southern states which passed laws banning the concealed carrying of firearms. These laws were primarily aimed at preventing African Americans from arming themselves and were disproportionately enforced as such. In the 1941 Florida Supreme Court case of Watson v. and over the years by higher court, essentially a 0525 or open carry while fishing, or going to or returning from fishing, and coincidentally enough, the law Taylor to get on the ground until backup arrived. Once the other deputies arrived on the scene, Mr. Taylor was placed into handcuffs while the officers conducted their investigation.
Alright, do you have any more guns on you?
No, sir. No more. There's no more knives, no more guns, no more.
Up.
I can't stand up.
Ready?
Hold on.
Ready? Okay. 1, 2, 3.
Come on, man. I ain't got no fish on me. Can you guys look up Florida Statute 790.25, Section 3, Subsection H, please?
Alright, how are we going to get all this crap off you so we can...
Well, you've got handcuffs on me, and once again, if you looked up the statute...
Alright, will you stop for a minute? You have ID on you?
No, maybe. I don't know.
Well, where would it be?
I don't consent to any of it. What crime did I commit?
Many states, including Florida, have concluded that being in possession of a firearm cannot be the sole justification for police officers to conduct a stop, and merely being in possession of a firearm does not satisfy the reasonable suspicion standard set forth in the Terry v. Ohio case. In a unanimous opinion of future activity, such an exception, reporting the target carrying a firearm in an area where such an activity is uncommon could have constituted reasonable suspicion to make a stop. However, the officers were not working solely on their observations and experience. The 911 caller who reported Mr. Taylor to the authorities specifically stated that Mr. Taylor was fishing and was not displaying his firearms in a threatening manner, which suggests that nothing Mr. Taylor was doing was unlawful.
Yeah, he's fishing. He's wearing a green shirt and some GoPro cameras all over him, and what looks like an AR-15 and a pistol on his hip.
Okay. And is he pointing them at anybody or brandishing them at all?
He's just walking around with them. Nope. He's just walking around with them. It's just open carry like that.
Okay. And he's fishing?
He's about to. He just got there, locked up and down, but talked to a couple people that were fishing there.
Although innocent and lawful activities can serve to satisfy reasonable suspicion, a compounding effect must exist, and one seemingly suspicious but lawful activity is generally not enough to justify a stop. It is difficult to speculate on how a court would weigh the unusual nature of Mr. Taylor's conduct against Florida's laws. And although it is clear that Mr. Taylor's conduct was legal, it would be interesting to see whether a court would consider the stop valid.
Open carry in Florida is not...
Unless you're engaged in fishing, hunting, or camping. That's not a crime. To possess a firearm is not a crime.
Listen, do you understand that when I'm pulling into a parking lot, I see somebody with what looks like
Look,
an
man, I was actually on my way home until you decided to come out and point guns at me.
All right, well, I want to go home today too. I don't want to get shot.
I wasn't pointing guns at you.
Listen. We understand the statute. I know you're in your right. Listen.
Listen to him.
I understand what you're saying. However, think about where you are right now. You know.
I need you to give him your information. You need to go talk to them. And you better file charges if I'm giving you my information.
What's your day, bro?
If you don't, believe me, you guys will get complaints, and this will be all over you.
Whatever you need to do, man.
They have to run me first, everyone. They can't run the actual criminal. Can you go tell him, go question the guy who assaulted me?
He's gonna conduct his investigation. Do you see him up there?
No, he's not. He's inside hiding.
What was he wearing?
Yeah, a blue shirt. Short, dark hair, fat. So what was the call about?
Somebody coming up here harassing employees and pulling a taser on someone.
They tell you they circled me and surrounded me? The part where they assaulted me, they forgot, they left that out.
Hi, Mr. Roberts. I spoke with the two gentlemen that came out, and all their information is going to be entered into the report as well as your statement that you gave this deputy. I made them aware that yes, you can view video from a public area, which the roadway is public. But if you cross over into the
I've
grass.
checked the property lines. I don't need directives.
You go on the property, you're going to go to jail.
If you smoke crack, that's not good, man. All right, do I get a report or something?
You're going to get you one, all right?
Oh, great, this guy.
Here you go, buddy. All right, my name, badge number beside it, and your case number as well. You can get a copy of the report in 35 business days. Have a good day.
Thank you. See how the cop tried to spin it and say I was in their parking lot?
How you doing, sir? How you doing, sir?
Not too good.
Wow, what's going on today, buddy?
I had some dude inside. Oh, you're getting really close, man.
Oh, yeah, I like to get close. I like to talk to people.
Can you stop?
No, sir.
So
I want to talk to you. What's going on, my
stop,
friend?
Stop getting so close to me, dude.
What's going on, man?
Dude, stop approaching me.
Sir, I'm allowed.
Back off, dude.
Okay.
Give me some space, dude.
Go ahead and turn.
Give me some space,
Put your hands
dude.
behind your back.
No, give me some. Ow! Oh.
Behind your
For
back.
what? For what?
Your piece.
For you?
Absolutely.
Oh yeah, very nice, dude. Very nice. Enjoy the lawsuit. Enjoy paying for my camera too.
Absolutely. You getting resisting arrest?
Resisting, I'm not moving.
Nope. When I went to put my hands on you, you pulled away from me.
Yeah, because you have no right to arrest me.
Sir,
I did
you're
nothing.
under arrest. You have the right to attorney
You
have
kept
him or
approaching me. You
Sir,
kept...
you had the right to attorney have him or present before any questions asked. You decide any time to exercise these rights and not make any more statement. Do you understand these rights?
I don't answer any more questions without a lawyer present.
Absolutely. All right, go ahead and stand them up.
Sergeant Paul Morrison responds to the scene and approaches Mr. Roberts, who asks him several times to not stand so close to him and tries to step away. When Mr. Roberts directs a profanity at him, Sergeant Morrison tackles Mr. Roberts to the ground and tells him he's under arrest for resisting because he pulled away from him. And Mr. Roberts argues that he did so because Sergeant Morrison had no right to arrest him. Under Section 16-9-320 of the South Carolina Code, quote, "It is unlawful for a person knowingly and willfully to resist an arrest being made by one whom the person knows or reasonably should know is a law enforcement officer. Although an individual can be convicted for non-violently resisting an arrest, if Sergeant Morrison was attempting to arrest Mr. Roberts, he never informed Mr. Roberts that was his intention or took any action that should have put Mr. Roberts on notice that he was under arrest. Therefore, a court would likely conclude that Mr. Roberts could not be convicted of knowingly and willfully resisting an arrest. Likewise, Sergeant Morrison had no lawful basis to arrest Mr. Roberts at the time he approached him, and it has been long established in South Carolina that individuals are not required to submit to unlawful arrests, and that individuals have the right to resist an unlawful arrest. The Supreme Court of South Carolina's assault, or not authorized to recognize a citizen's right to resist, there would be no question of disproportionate resistance if a court concluded that Mr. Roberts was resisting an unlawful arrest.
Enjoy getting sued, guys.
Oh, absolutely. You got a taser, so.
Oh yeah, I'm already told him I got assaulted.
So here's the thing, you pulled it out and you was starting them.
He attacked me. It's on camera.
All right. Well, we're going to log all this in too.
Good, do it.
After Sergeant Morrison placed Mr. Roberts under arrest, he was taken to jail and booked. However, it does not appear that any criminal charges were filed against Mr. Roberts, and after he was released, he filed a formal complaint with the Florence County Sheriff's Office. As a result of the complaint, the department opened an internal affairs investigation, and internal records indicate that Sergeant Morrison resigned on September 15, 2022. Sheriff T.J. Joy issued a press release about the incident, stating that, quote, "The internal affairs investigation determined numerous FCSO policy violations during the incident. As a result of the investigation, Sergeant Morrison is no longer employed by the Florence County Sheriff's Office." Sheriff Joy also noted that, quote, "The matter has been referred to the 12th Circuit Solicitor's Office, but as of the date of this episode, no criminal charges have been initiated against Sergeant Morrison." Additionally, Mr. Roberts alleged that after the incident, Sergeant Morrison deleted the video footage of the encounter from his camera. Fortunately, Mr. Roberts was able to recover the footage and post it to YouTube, along with a short video that appears to have been shot in the police cruiser after his arrest, which Mr. Roberts alleged Sergeant Morrison took while deleting the videos. The Florence County Sheriff's Office has not specifically addressed the issue of the deleted videos in any public statements. Overall, Sergeant Morrison gets an F for unlawfully arresting Mr. Roberts without probable cause, using unnecessary force in conducting the illegal arrest, and attempting to cover his tracks by deleting Mr. Roberts' video footage of the encounter. While Sergeant Morrison claimed that he was arresting Mr. Roberts for resisting arrest, he had no legitimate reason. Followed was captured by the dash cam on Officer Hinkle's cruiser, the footage from which will be shown first, and Officer Hinkle's body camera.
No, but we're giving you your time immediately.
Pull over! Pull in the parking lot! We're in this parking lot right now.
I'm so sorry.
Pull over!
Oh my gosh, please don't yell at me, sir.
Pull over now!
Oh my, is there someone else with you?
No, pull over! I'm not repeating myself. Get out of the roadway and pull over. Turn the car off. License and registrations now. Did you not see this bright yellow vest standing in the middle of the street?
No, I did. I thought you were leaving.
No,
before.
this means stop. This means stop.
I didn't see that until I was already past.
And then you still drove by me.
I'm so sorry, sir. I didn't.
License and registration now.
Hold on. Sorry. Give me a second, okay?
No, license and registration now.
Okay.
You almost ran over an officer standing in the middle of the street.
I'm so sorry. I didn't realize what was going on. That was very confusing.
It's a bright yellow jacket standing in the middle of the street. What don't you understand?
All the other cars were going.
No, they weren't. You were the only vehicle coming from that way. You almost ran me over in the middle of the street.
Officer Hinkle screams at the driver for failing to stop at his signal, even though the driver explained that she was confused and thought she was free to travel through the intersection. The dashcam footage of the incident shows that while Officer Hinkle did raise his arm towards the driver's vehicle, it does not appear that he complied with traffic direction best practices when attempting to signal to her to stop. According to the basic traffic control procedures for law enforcement officers issued by the Maryland Police Training Commission, a common method a patrolman can use in this position is similarly a guide of the traffic. Finally, the Seattle open hand palm. In fact, he only quickly glanced in her direction and then turned his head to face oncoming traffic. Likewise, instead of fully extending his palm in the driver's direction, Officer Hinkle did not flatten the palm and only extended it in a claw-like position facing the ground. He also only raised his hand to about waist level instead of over his head, where it would be clearly visible.
Out of your car and stand next to the fender.
Sure.
Leave your purse in the car. Where do you work?
I work for a clothing company in California.
What are you doing here today?
I'm going to Target.
You're going to Target?
Yeah, do a pickup.
What is such an important factor that me standing in the middle of the street,
Sir,
stopping you, and you try to run me over?
Sir, I swear.
And then you looked at me, you waved at me, and then you kept going anyway.
I swear I was not trying to run you over. I thought you were, the cars were going.
I'm telling you to stop in the middle of the street, and you wave at me and keep going.
I saw your hand before, and it was too late to stop. And
No, it wasn't. You were doing 10 miles an hour, and you still drove by me.
I'm sorry.
You didn't even attempt to stop your car.
Sir.
You're lucky you're not in handcuffs right this second.
I'm very sorry, sir. I really.
Explain to my kids why they don't have a dad a week before Christmas, because you're trying to run somebody over.
Officer Hinkle repeatedly claims that the driver was trying to hit him, even though the dashcam footage from his cruiser shows him lunging toward her vehicle as she drove by, and tells her she's lucky she's not in handcuffs. We will discuss the offenses that Officer Hinkle asserts that the driver actually committed later in this episode, but for now, it should be noted that striking an officer who was directing traffic fine. Believed he had probable cause that she had committed an offense.
Sir, I promise.
You see the bright lights flashing in the middle of the street? That means use caution. There's a cop out there. I got kids at home, and you almost ran me over a week before Christmas.
Sir, when I see flashing yellow light.
It's not flashing. It's red and blue. That's a cop car standing in the middle of the street flashing lights. No, it's not an accident. You're just being irresponsible. Street, and then waves at me and still tries to drive by me. Run her, please, and make sure she's valid. A week before Christmas, I almost get ran over. All right? Yeah. I got 2 kids at home waiting for me to come home tonight.
Sir, I'm very sorry. I thought.
Sorry doesn't break it. You looked right at me and still decided to drive by me. No, you weren't. I was in the middle of the intersection.
You hurt?
Emotionally. Would you mind filling this out for me? My hands are a little shaky right now.
So you're gonna
Failing to obey a signal of the officer. Reckless driving.
Officer Hinkle asks one of the other officers to fill out a citation for failure to obey an officer's commands and reckless driving. Under Section 14-223 of the Connecticut General Statutes, which defines the offense to form or prompt any motor vehicle, Section 53 regarding it constitutes Sandra O. speed alone here. While the driver may have failed to stop when signaled, although it is certainly questionable whether Officer Hinkle's hand signals were sufficient to communicate in order to stop, it is unlikely that she could be found guilty of reckless driving for simply misunderstanding the situation, because she would not have the reckless mental state that is necessary to sustain a conviction.
I mean, if he has his lights on, that means something's on. You gotta get
See, this is why I was trying to direct traffic, because it's I was out here for 25, 30 minutes
I
doing
heard
traffic.
you. Could you get so? Yeah.
30 minutes doing traffic and almost got ran over once. Everybody else, no problem, no problem. Anytime you see flashing red and blue lights in the middle of the street, it means there's cops present.
What should I say?
No, stop talking. And it means you need to pay attention, because there's going to be police officers out and about, okay? This bright yellow vest, it's very, very bright. It's neon yellow because it stands out, okay? I'm standing in the middle of the street telling you to stop. That means stop. I'm not waving hi, Merry Christmas. This means stop. Listen, when you see me do this and try to get your attention and stop you again, it doesn't mean wave back to me and keep driving by me. Stop.
I'm sorry.
Then what were you doing in your vehicle?
I was paying attention to the cars in front of me.
There were no cars in front of you. There were 0 cars in front of you. You were the only vehicle traveling on that road for 500 feet. There were no vehicles in front of you.
Okay.
No, there wasn't.
Okay.
She almost runs me over.
You need to calm yourself.
The driver was issued a citation and allowed to leave the scene, and the charges were later dropped. This incident sparked an internal affairs investigation into Officer Hinkle's conduct, and he was immediately placed on paid administrative leave. On January 9th, 2023, Officer Hinkle was terminated from the Waterbury Police Department after the investigation determined that his conduct, actions, and behaviors were in violation of department policies. In an official statement on the termination, Chief Fernando Spagnolo noted that, quote, his conduct during this encounter with a citizen of the community is unacceptable and not representative of the men and women serving the Waterbury Police Department. WPD officers are trained to demonstrate the highest level of professionalism when performing their duties. In an interview, Chief Spagnolo also stated that, quote, as far as we are concerned, that is not behavior we condone. Our officers are not trained to act that way. We will not tolerate that type of actions or behavior toward the public from our police officers. Chief Spagnolo also reached out to the driver in this altercation and explained in an interview that, quote, she's been very amicable to us. She's come to the police station and been in my office and told me she recognizes that almost everyone at the Waterbury Police has treated her with respect. Overall, Officer Hinkle gets an F for
They nearly ran into me.
No, I did not. You slammed on your brakes. You had no brake. You had no turn signal or nothing.
I had to turn around on the car without speeding. I'm doing my job out here, sir. Give me your license.
You hit me. Don't worry. Don't worry. I'll see you in court, dude. Take it on. Look at my car.
Hey, take a seat in the car for right now. We're on a traffic stop right now.
Hey,
okay?
You hit my car.
We're on a traffic stop right now.
Out here.
I want to see the damage done to my vehicle.
Give me a minute. We're on a traffic stop right now. Once I get done with my traffic stop, we're following too closely.
I was not following too close. Clearly you were. You hit me.
You stopped in the middle of a roadway, sir.
No,
I didn't stop. I got over and I was in the lane.
You
trying
stopped
to
in the
speed
lane.
back up. No, I was trying to speed back up.
Okay,
and you
sir.
slammed on your gas.
Okay.
And you hit us.
Okay.
So.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry. I told you why I stopped you, because you were following me too closely.
But I wasn't. But
okay.
We'll see in court.
Okay. Do you have an ID on you, ma'am?
I sure do.
You don't need her ID.
Yes, I do, actually, for the accident report that you so want, sir.
Yes.
I do want it.
Okay.
You f***ing hit me.
There's no damage between our vehicles, though.
I don't give a f***, bro. You f***ing hit me.
Yeah.
Trooper Wingo rips open Mr. Donner's door, orders him to exit the vehicle, and places him under arrest for disorderly conduct. Arkansas's disorderly conduct law, which is found in rips open.
F***ing hit me.
There's no damage between our vehicles, though.
I don't give a f***, bro. You f***ing hit me.
Get out of the car.
Trooper Wingo rips open Mr. Donner's door, orders him to exit the vehicle, and places him under arrest for disorderly conduct. Arkansas's disorderly conduct law, which is found in Section 5-71-207 of the Arkansas Code, states that, quote, a person engages, discussed before on ATA, profanity is protected speech under the First Amendment, and citizens cannot be arrested for simply using curse words. For instance, in the two under this same such, in reaching the First Amendment danger, or challenge, given the well-established legal precedent protecting the right to use profanity and express disapproval of police officers, a court would almost certainly conclude that Trooper Wingo's actions violated Mr. Donner's constitutional rights.
You're under arrest for disorderly conduct, sir. Ooh. Come on. Take a seat until you can calm down.
Okay.
Ma'am, there was no need for cussing me out. Until he can calm down and act like an adult, he's going to sit in the back of the car.
Let me explain to you. My husband has severe PTSD. Severe. He's a 100% disabled veteran. And he is fucking, that's why I'm here.
You going to talk to me? You going to let me talk, or you just want to interrupt me the entire time, ma'am?
I'm sorry.
Okay. Until he can calm down and act like a human being and stop cussing me out for no reason, so I'm trying to explain to him what happened. But he doesn't want to let me talk, okay? So do you want to let me talk or not?
Yes, I'm sorry.
Okay. Now. You gonna calm down or you gonna continue cussing?
I just want your badge and number and your name.
I'm asking you a simple question. So you're gonna calm down?
I just want your badge and number and your name. That's all I want.
Okay, well, I'm trying to ask you
and I said, sure, officer.
Okay, well, you gonna continue cussing me out or not? Because that was that, and you're going to say sure, then I'm not going to have you sit out here and cuss at me for no reason. There's no fit to, you're not incriminating yourself, sir.
Here, Trooper Wingo tells Mr. Donner that he doesn't need to invoke his right to silence because he's not being asked incriminating questions. However, the Fifth Amendment applies to a much broader range of interrogation than blatantly incriminating questions, and individuals should exercise their right to remain silent in a variety of situations. In the 1951 case of Hoffman versus United States, the chain of evidence, or when it is, quote, similarly, in the 2000 truthful response in this situation, answering even a seemingly innocuous question, such as, are you going to calm down now, could have caused Mr. Donner to unintentionally implicate himself. For instance, if Mr. Donner had agreed to calm down and stop cussing out Trooper Wingo, it could have insinuated that his conduct was unreasonable before he was handcuffed, and that he believed that his detention was justified. This is one of the many reasons that citizens should invoke their right to remain silent when police officers attempt to question them, as when an individual answers a question inexactly or incorrect.
Okay.
This is going to end horribly.
I just want him, I'm trying to get him to calm down. But he doesn't want to, he wants to continue yelling at me for no reason, okay?
Chevy West, down the bank, go ahead. I said he has severe PTSD.
I don't know if he has malicious intent. He's over here yelling and cussing me. Now I'm just trying to get his information, and he wants to start yelling, stop in the middle of the road for no reason.
I understand, but he was freaking out because you hit our car. That's why he was upset, was because you hit us.
The driver in the back seat, he started cussing me out, and I'm trying to have him calm down the back seat.
But everything's good to go?
Yeah. He just wants to yell and cuss me for no reason, so I got him out and put him in the back seat.
You're good?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was coming this way. I saw him riding my butt. I didn't really care. Car top hill going 60. I'm on overtime. Just turned around. Right. When I went to turn around, he slammed. Yeah. I had to turn around. I don't slam on brakes or anything. I hit my brakes, turn around. I knew he was riding my butt. I just turned around. Yeah. Turned around, and when I turned around, he starts laying on his horn. So I was like, okay. So you want to lay on your horn, I'll just pull you over before I get closer. So when I turned back around to come behind him, he moves straight over from the inside lane to the outside lane, goes straight over and just slams on the brakes. And I'm just trying to get behind him, and he slams on his brake. And I didn't even have my lights on at that point, but he just stops in the middle of the road.
Trooper Wingo recounts his version of events to a fellow trooper who responded to the scene, which is wildly different from what the dash and cab cams show actually occurred. First, Trooper Wingo claims that Mr. Donner was following him too closely, but the cab footage shows that Mr. Donner left plenty of distance between the two vehicles while Trooper Wingo was driving in front of him. Trooper Wingo also alleges that he had not activated his emergency lights when Mr. Donner stopped his vehicle, but the cab cam also shows that he did in fact turn on his emergency lights before the collision occurred. Finally, Trooper Wingo insists that Mr. Donner stopped in the middle of the road, when Mr. Donner had clearly pulled into the right lane to yield to the police vehicle. What the video footage also shows is that Trooper Wingo started to make a U-turn without first getting into the middle turning lane. Then, when Mr. Donner honked his horn at him, Trooper Wingo turned back around to pull over Mr. Donner and ultimately slammed into Mr. Donner's vehicle when he stopped. Although Arkansas law does allow police vehicles to disregard traffic laws in some circumstances, they are generally required to follow the same rules of the road as everyone else. For example, Section 20, nor shall it so illegal.
Look, dude. You see these cars, you see the flag, you see the marking. Our U-turns are legal when we're going out the driveway. It doesn't make any difference. Okay. And what you did, slamming on your brakes. I didn't slam on my brakes. That's his word. That's not mine. My wife's word. That's fine. I didn't slam on my brakes, so.
Wait, it's all be pre-recorded. Put it 1 minute. It don't matter. You don't have to stand. Yeah.
Are you one of these type people that you're going to provoke the police? No, I'm not trying to. It sounds like it. No.
Trooper Wingo eventually released Mr. Donner without charging him with disorderly conduct and issued him a citation for following too closely and parking on a highway. Because of the traumatic experience they had with Trooper Wingo, the Donners decided not to fight these charges and paid the $330 fine. The couple recently decided to retain an attorney to pursue a civil rights lawsuit against Trooper Wingo, and Ms. Donner has created a GoFundMe campaign to help cover the costs of attorney fees. You can find a link in the description below. Overall, Trooper Wingo gets an F for causing a crash.
In Michigan, this is body camera video of a police officer following a man into a fast food restaurant.
Hey, what are you doing, man?
I'm just looking for my way back.
A few minutes earlier, that man on a bicycle, Luther Gonzalez Hall, had asked the same cop for directions.
I told you where it was at about 2 minutes ago.
That was you?
Yeah, well, who was it?
I'm sorry, I know you're the cop.
So I told you where it was at, right?
Yeah.
So why are you in here asking the same thing?
I'm not for sure where I'm going.
I told you where to go.
Alright, thank you.
Is that accurate or no?
Yeah.
So why are you in here?
I was just making sure.
Making sure I told you the right thing?
I'm not for sure where I'm going.
I told you where to go, right?
Yeah.
So why are you in here?
Alright, sorry.
No.
The officer's anger at not being believed or trusted recently led to this. Jury awards $9.2 million in lawsuit against Dearborn police officer for violating constitutional rights. Back in the restaurant in late 2018, the constitutional violations were just beginning.
Yo.
Whoa.
What are you doing, man?
You don't need to touch me like that. Whoa. You shouldn't need to touch me like that. Whoa. Oh, no. What the f***, bro? What the f***? Stop. I'm always with this. What the f***? Bro, what the f*** is your problem?
That was the body camera falling onto the ground.
What did I do? I'm sorry, what did I do? I just was asking for directions, bro. I was just asking for directions, bro. Bro, I was asking for directions, man. What is your problem, man?
7.
Okay.
Hall later admitted he had consumed a few beers at a friend's house before getting lost.
Sir, I was asking for directions.
I told you I was there, right?
Okay, can you please let me go?
Hold tight.
What's wrong, man?
Hold tight.
Easy one.
Can you please let me go? What's wrong?
Hold tight.
Whoa, what is wrong? What is wrong, man?
Just stop, dude.
You're letting me choke. You're choking me.
Stop.
You're choking me.
Stop it.
You're choking me, bro. You're choking me, bro.
Hey, give me a car.
What is your problem, bro? You're choking me.
Stop it, dude.
problem, bro? You're choking. What is your problem? What is your problem, Dave? What is your problem? Dude, I swear to what is your problem? Whoa! I got you. I got people. What is your problem?
At this point, Luther Gonzalez Hall briefly managed to escape. After jarring the body camera on its side, Officer Marvin Sanders chased Hall down the street. Officer Sanders caught up with Hall away from the body camera and allegedly beat him. According to medical records, Luther Gonzalez Hall suffered multiple broken bones in one of his feet, as well as cuts and abrasions. Gonzalez Hall later said he ran after the officer had him on the ground the first time because of fear. "I couldn't breathe. He was choking me," Gonzalez Hall said. "I feared for my life." Police charged the bicyclist with multiple counts, including resisting a police officer, but all of the charges were eventually dropped. Gonzalez Hall sued Officer Marvin Sanders, the Dearborn Police Department, and the city for excessive force and civil rights violations. The case took a few years to go to trial, but a Michigan jury recently heard all the evidence, including the body camera video, and after a week, the jury ruled in Gonzalez Hall's favor, ordering the city to pay him $9.2 million. To this day, Gonzalez Hall still walks with a limp from multiple surgeries on his foot and faces lingering psychological trauma. And all of this could have been avoided if Officer Marvin Sanders had kept his cool and given the young man directions again, or better yet, given him a ride home. Luther Gonzalez Hall was simply and politely asking for help. By the way, records show Officer Marvin Sanders is still employed in the Dearborn, Michigan Police Department. Let's stay in Michigan. Farther north in Bay County, a police chief has now been fired after assaulting a teenager.
So the original altercation was because you were
Squeaking the tires on the bird's. What'd I do? Get out of here! I didn't even do that. Yeah, you did. What'd I do? Go. What'd I do? Go.
Jabbing his flashlight into the teenager, that is Bay City, Michigan Police Chief Michael Cicchini.
Get out of here. It's disturbing the peace.
Moments earlier, the teen, with friends,
It's a crime.
had squealed a scooter tire.
I didn't see anyone else wake up. Get out of here. Right now, you disturbed my peace. Leave. You just committed battery. No. Yes. No, you hit me with a flashlight. That's battery. Get out of here. How is that right? Leave. Battery, right?
The teen is correct. It is battery.
You just committed battery, right? Chief of police. That doesn't work that way, dude. You don't have a right to disturb the peace. You have a right to your rights end when they infringe your identity. You hit me with a flashlight, bro. What are you talking about?
This video is at the heart of a lawsuit against Bay City Police, and the chief is now out of a job.
Let him talk first. Let him talk first.
Let him talk.
Okay.
This began on the night of September 17, 2022. The teenagers were riding a bird scooter in front of an apartment building. They squealed a tire and knocked over a traffic barrel, which they then put back up.
Come here. They hit the cone. They're messing around here around this new monument. It went on for about 5 minutes. Okay? I'd had enough. I'm upstairs. All right? I said some bad words. All right? Okay. He challenged me to fight and dared me to come down. Okay? I came down. I'm gonna beat your ass, and then I'm gonna take you to jail. What would I do? Get out of here! I didn't even do that. Yeah, you did. He stood off on me, and I did a pectoral jab with my flashlight. Okay. Okay? Okay. What'd I do? Go! Take that battery. Get out of here. 2 charges right here. Okay. In my opinion. Okay. But I'll let you investigate it. Okay. Bird scoop.
I'll get their statements. I come check in with you. Okay.
All right.
Talk to him.
Me?
Yep. Talk.
Okay.
Okay. You got nothing on you?
No.
Okay.
In the M for Michigan shirt, that is 19-year-old Parker Whalen.
All right. What's going on?
So we were just riding around on burn scooters, you know, like teenagers do. And then he came up
How
here.
old are you?
I'm 19.
Okay.
And he hit the cone right here and knocked it over.
What cone?
I think it was the one with the gray
step
on it.
aside? Okay. Middle one?
Yeah, and knocked it over, and then he started yelling, and he threatened him first. So he was defending himself, against him.
Where did he come from?
He was up there, up at the top.
Okay.
and he was like, I'll come down there and beat your ass. Okay. And we waited down here to see if he would actually come down, and then he came down. Travis was standing right there, didn't say a single word. And like on the road, and he came up and hit him. I don't know if it was like in the chest or the rib cage, but he hit him with the flashlight and then started shining it in his eyes.
Another officer spoke to 18-year-old Travis Krem, the teen who had the physical confrontation and who then exchanged words with the chief.
I didn't even do it. How did you feel threatened, bro? Is it my luscious locks? Are you jealous? You bald bitch? Huh? I would be jealous too. Look at my wrench out here, bro. Call the cops, bro. You committed battery. I can assault you all I want. You're gonna kiss me? Assault me. You wanna make out? I'll make out with you right now. I swing both ways, bro. Go ahead. Assault me.
Back
up. I'm not gonna touch you. I know
Get
better.
out of his face.
I know better, bro.
Hey,
what is
can
he
you
doing
send
to
a
you?
unit down here? I've got 3 hooligans that need to go.
Hooligans? You hit me with a flashlight.
I'm at 9th Street in front of River's Edge.
I was riding. You know how like when you press the brake, the back wheel locks up and it makes a squeaking noise, right?
Okay.
You can drift when you do that. It's kind of fun, right?
Okay.
I get it's kind of late and stuff, right?
Right.
But he's up there. He goes, "Hey, Big Shot, you want to go?" Right? Because he said, "Why don't you keep it down?" I said, "I'm not doing nothing wrong." He goes, "Hey, Big Shot, you want to go?" Right? So, obviously, you know, I'm a dude, 18 years old. I can hold my own ground. I'm gonna hold my own ground, right?
Okay.
So, I didn't know who he was, right? This random old guy, older guy, not too young, right? So, I said, "Yeah, come down, we can go," right? He's threatening me to fight me, right? And I stood right here. I said, "What's up?" He walks up to me and like, "I'm not gonna hit you, I promise." He goes like that and jabs me like right here in the ribs with the flashlight. And then he said he felt threatened. My hands were at my sides. I don't know. I didn't swing at him. I didn't pick up.
What did you do when he walked down?
I just stood there. I said, "What's up?" Like, I didn't know who he was. He looked at his badge. I seen he was a cop. I'm not gonna swing at a cop, you know? I have more respect than that. He's like, "Hit me, hit me, hit me." And like points toward his chin. Like, I'm gonna hit him. And I said, "No, I'm more mature than you. I'm not gonna hit you." And he goes, "Hit me." And I'm like, "I'm not gonna hit you." I want to hit him, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah.
Then what happened?
And then you guys got here. And I asked him if I could sit down. He said, "You're free to do whatever you want." I walked over here. I seen you guys pulling up and I stopped. Now I'm here. I didn't threaten him in any way. I don't know how he feels threatened.
So the original altercation was because you were
Squeaking the tires on the bird
and he
scooters.
yelled at you from up there.
Yeah, is that a worthy thing to hit someone with a flashlight?
It's
Because he's chief of police. He's above me. He's better than me.
If Chief Michael Cecchini thought he was above the teenagers and that it was okay to hit one with a flashlight, the chief found out quickly that was a mistake. Within 2 days, the teens and their families filed a formal complaint, prompting Bay City, Michigan officials to place Chief Cecchini on administrative leave. The Michigan State Police then reviewed the video recorded by one of the teens, as well as the police body camera videos, and within 10 days, the state police forwarded their report to the Bay County Prosecutor's Office. A few days after that, in a news conference at his desk, Bay City Public Safety Director Michael Cecchini announces retirement amid assault allegations. Weeks later, following an independent review by the Michigan Attorney General's office, as this headline said, former Bay City Public Safety Director charged with assault and battery. It's a misdemeanor, which in Michigan is punishable by up to 93 days in jail. At his arraignment, the former chief was released on his own recognizance, but ordered not to have any contact with the teens.
And not to be within a quarter mile of his residence or workplace, and not to display any aggressive behavior or have any weapons in your possession while this case is pending. Do you have questions about anything?
Nope.
Anything further that we need to address, Ms. Ryan?
No, Your Honor, thank you.
And that will lead to your room. If you can come up to the bench, the recorder will have some paperwork for you to sign. You do need to have your fingerprints taken, so we do have a fingerprint order.
That's right, the former police chief was ordered to provide his fingerprints. Talk about humiliation. Based on Michael Cecchini's clean record, legal experts do not expect the chief will receive any jail time, though he will likely have to perform community service. But that's not going to be the end of this. The teens and their families have now filed a federal civil rights lawsuit. Legal experts say that proving civil damages may be tough, even if it's clear the chief violated their civil rights. However, the families argue that the police chief caused the teens lasting emotional and psychological damage. In any case, this Michigan incident is a stark reminder: always film your interactions with the police. The video does not lie. Furthermore, under the Constitution and...
Yes, sir. May it please the court, Judge, just to clear up.
I'd like to hear from the Solicitor's Office and the Sheriff's Department before I make any decisions regarding bond for Mr. Underwood.
Yes, sir. May it please the court, Judge, just to clear up any issues regarding the warrant. The warrant is resisting arrest. However, I think what Mr. Underwood's maybe misunderstanding about that is that the resisting arrest also encompasses resisting the service of process or a writ. That is the specific portion that is being dealt with in this particular case. This situation arose when representatives from the Sheriff's Office went out to the residence where Mr. Underwood was staying and attempted to serve him with paperwork for an eviction. Mr. Underwood refused to accept that paperwork, so at that point, officers came back, obtained that warrant, and went back to serve that warrant. So that's how we got to where we are with regard to the warrant. Living with him at that residence, and I believe the primary person at that residence is the mother of Mr. Underwood's child. I don't believe they're married, but they do have a child in common. Certain statements were made while the situation was going on yesterday with regard to the standoff. A gun was obtained by law enforcement at the time of the arrest. Mr. Underwood did say that was his weapon, and intimated to officers that it was not for use on officers, but it was for use on his child's mother. Given those circumstances, there was also some marijuana in the residence that was turned over to narcotics as well at the time of the arrest. I don't know that any charges have been made with regard to those drugs. That's something that we'll be dealing with at a later date. But for today's purpose, what the state would be asking for is a cash or surety bond. We would request a bond of approximately $50,000. And we also believe that based upon the statements that Mr. Underwood has made, intimating potential harm towards his child's mother, we believe that GPS monitoring, ankle monitor, is appropriate in this case. We would also ask that the bond specifically include provisions prohibiting him from going to her place of work and to her residence. And certainly we can furnish the addresses to the monitoring company so they can go ahead and plug that into the monitor so they'll be notified if Mr. Underwood goes to either of those places. I think that's all we're asking for today. Any other issues certainly can be taken up at a preliminary hearing or at the appropriate time later on.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Officer McCreary?
I really don't have anything else to add to what he said.
Nothing to add?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you very much. All right, Mr. Underwood, I find the solicitor's request for a cash or surety bond of $50,000 to be reasonable accordingly. I'm going to impose that cash or bond for your release.
I find it absurd that you haven't even obtained any information from me based off the solicitor. You're going to believe everything that he says.
Okay.
And you're going to go ahead and set a surety bond on me on a misdemeanor.
Okay. Are you finished? Okay. If you'll hear me out, please. Thank you. Additionally, I'm going to place a requirement for a GPS monitor prior to your release on bond. I'm going to restrain or restrict your contact with your domestic partner or the mother of your child, whichever best describes her, to include her place of work and her residence. Additionally, I'm going to prohibit your physical or constructive possession of firearms or ammunition at any time for any reason. And I want to make sure that you understand, when I say constructive possession, I mean, there's to be no firearms or ammunition in any vehicle you're being transported in or riding in unless it's...
What grounds? What grounds? Are you prohibiting me from firearms?
I am.
Why? What grounds?
I am. Because I have that latitude given the severity of...
What reason is your
Sir.
Why are you standing behind that you're gonna
Mr. Underwood,
firearms?
Mr. Underwood, in this court, one person talks at a time.
From the solicitor's office and the sheriff's office.
You're going to find yourself in contempt of court.
I've already been in contempt.
Okay.
I'm not here, sir.
All right. Are you going to allow me to finish? Constructive possession of firearms or ammunition means you will not have it in your possession. It won't be in the house or the room that you're staying in. It won't be in the vehicle that you're being transported in, unless we're talking about transport by law enforcement. Do you understand that? All right. That's all. You're dismissed. Officer, if you'll remove him.
You can't look at me, can you? You can't look at me, can you? Which one? Which one?
Do you have any questions?
No, sir.
Okay, sir? Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Officer Wilson. Officer James, thank you. Folks, good morning. This is a bond hearing this morning. Miss Haddon, is it Miss Haddon? Good morning. You want to come down here. Mr. Armstrong, you want to stand or sit? Either way, Miss Haddon, if you'd like to sit, you can. And you are Miss Smith, is it?
Hall.
I'm sorry?
Hall. H-A-L-L.
Oh, Hall. Oh, thank you. Hall, Miss Hall, thank you. Folks, good morning. This is a bond hearing this morning. A bond hearing is where an arraignment is, charges are read, and a person is given certain instructions. I'm going to give you some instructions. I'm going to ask you please to listen. Everything that I tell you is going to be given to you in writing so you understand what your responsibilities are. A warrant for arrest will be issued for any violation of a bail bond order. You have the right and obligation to be present at your trial. My trial will proceed in your absence if you fail to attend. You have the right to a trial by jury. You have a right to a lawyer. You have a right to a court-appointed lawyer if you're financially unable to employ a lawyer. And if you don't have your own lawyer and you qualify, you are going to be assigned a lawyer from the public defender's office. If you're incarcerated waiting trial, a lawyer from the public defender's office will see you within 2 or 3 working days. I'm going to ask everybody, this is not an easy task. I understand that, so I'm just going to ask everybody, we've got to go through this formality, and I just want you to bear with me. Be glad to answer any questions that you have once we get done with the formal part of this. Mr. Armstrong, sir, you have 2 charges. You've been charged under citation number 2019-A04207-00697 for murder. You've been charged under warrant number 2019-A04207-00698 for possession of a weapon during a violent crime. Those are the 2 charges against you. I'm going to ask you a few questions. I'm going to see if you answer. I am going to appoint a lawyer for you unless you have a lawyer. Do you have a personal lawyer, or do you want me? Do you work?
Sir?
You do not work. What do you do all day?
I do all day.
I'm sorry?
Before this, I was actually looking for a job.
Okay, have you ever had a job?
Yes, sir.
What'd you do?
I was working on an ice cream truck, and